I know that you launched Zonte Capital along with Swan CEO Corey Clipston. What are you seeing in terms of investment opportunities now with respect to Bitcoin companies or supporting the ecosystem overall? And Simon will want to hear the same from you as well in a minute. But start
Mm,
with Max.
yeah, good question. So, well, Simon and I, going back to 2013, we started Bitcoin Capital 1, 2, and 3, which was really the first VC fund in Bitcoin. And at that time, the focus was on exchanges. My background is really with exchanges. Simon had launched a platform which was able to kind of prove a proof of concept, if you will. And so we ended up buying into Kraken at the seed round, and Bitso and Bitfinex, and the exchange business is really one. There's only two businesses that have come out of this industry, and that's the exchange business and the mining industry. And so the exchanges have done really well. And so now in 2022 with Zonte Capital, it's really focusing on hyper Bitcoinization. So anything that takes us closer to creating a circular economy, like we saw in El Zonte, in El Salvador, the people there are getting toward living on a Bitcoin standard, where they're paid in Bitcoin, they're spending Bitcoin, they're saving in Bitcoin, and they're completely divorced from the IMF and the World Bank and all the colonial interests that come from up north in the U.S. And other countries in the region are quickly figuring out that this is a fantastic thing. And so, with the fund, anything that we're looking at startups, early stage companies that are going to be pushing the hyper Bitcoinization mantra forward. Certainly, you would definitely need more education. So anything in ed tech is like, education technology would definitely be looking at it. But I'm also discovering, on the ground what's happening. So we're in El Salvador quite often, and so we're just out there actually, kicking the tires, talking to people, and finding out on the ground, what people are doing, and just finding out where the momentum and the energy is, and going that way. One company that we're already involved with would be Jan3, which is Samson Mo's new company. He left Blockstream and he's
Mhm.
starting a company in El Salvador. It's called Jan3, and he's all about spreading Bitcoin as sovereign legal tender to different countries and all the infrastructure that goes with that. So that's already pretty much earmarked to be in the fund. So that's where we're at.
Lots of exciting opportunity there. Simon, your thoughts. Where are you seeing opportunity as you try to deploy capital into the Bitcoin ecosystem these days?
Yeah, so we've now had over $1 billion Bank to the Future invested in over 100 companies from 150,000 investors. And obviously the biggest winners. So, with Bitcoin Capital, it was actually one of the highest performing venture capital funds out there. It completely outperformed any traditional venture capital. And a third of it was invested in Bitcoin mining. It paid dividends every single day in Bitcoin. We paid out thousands of Bitcoins in dividends. And it was also investing in companies like Bitstamp, which exited, Coinbase, which later IPO'd, and Kraken and Bitfinex and many other infrastructure and exchange plays. Those were the highest performing investments. You do have an era now of people wanting to financial services based upon using Bitcoin as collateral. So Max mentioned the Michael Saylor industry, or era rather, that people don't want to sell their Bitcoin. No one wants to be Bitcoin pizza guy. We've all been Bitcoin pizza guy. I've given away more Bitcoins than I like to remember in my time. And you soon start to learn and that borrowing dollars or borrowing stable coins rather than selling your Bitcoin, if managed correctly, is a more sensible strategy. If you can manage it as your wealth grows. And also receiving yield is just the financial markets were built upon debt. I do want to make a distinction here because we are moving from a fiat debt-based money to, I believe my forecast is that we move into a non-debt-based central bank digital currency era. So I believe that all fiat currencies are moving to central bank digital currencies in the future, which to me is communism on a blockchain. But in order to combat that, we need many financial services built upon digital hard sound money. Now, the difference with Bitcoin financial services is rather than borrowing based upon your credit rating, you have to first generate wealth. So you stack your sats, you generate wealth over time, and it encourages savings because every time you spend it, you get punished. And then once you do that, you want to take a percentage of it, maybe put it at risk, receive a bit of yield, but you also want to borrow, might want to borrow against it, and play a kind of a speculative attack, as it were, where on fiat currency and central bank digital currencies. So these are the types of companies. There's lots of different financial services that were being built around that. You can do really interesting, plays around now when debt capital markets are being built around Bitcoin bonds. You could borrow at a certain yield, and then you could invest at another yield and get a carry in between. So the markets are just getting really, really sophisticated as more and more institutions enter the market, and as more and more banks enter. So the key difference here is it's all being built upon a wealth effect. Whereas the traditional financial system encourages debt because money goes down in value, and therefore you're encouraged to take on loans and you're encouraged to spend as fast as possible. In Bitcoin, it does the opposite. You're encouraged to save, you're rewarded for saving, and then you want to unlock and use that collateral in order to build and be more speculative, but based upon savings rather than debt. So it's like an anti-debt effect, and one of the largest wealth distributions that I think you could imagine from those that decide to get on Bitcoin versus those that decide to wait until the central bank digital currency creates communism on a blockchain.